This is called The Air, for all you airheads out there. The air is there for flying. A glider pilot looks at me with googly eyes, like he's a tweaker on his 8th day speeding. The air is there for flying, he tells me. Flying is why the air is there. Let me show you something. And he levitates an egg with his hand. You know the trick. It's been done in bars forever. He puts his hand over a hard-boiled egg and it floats effortlessly, hanging there pregnantly. And I don't know how it works, but I've seen it. And it seems surreal that what a chicken cannot do, an egg do. And I'm not the first person who wondered whether chickens dream. And we would think that they would want to fly, and it's not that chickens want to fly, it's that we want chickens to want to fly. And they do want to fly, but the corn is just so darn tasty. And for generations of chickens, the corn in the trough held more allure, and the air became just something to breathe.
You did great!
So we were asked to bring one of our own.
Yeah.
And this is one which I got the title from a famous poet. It's called Poetry is an Affliction. The literary hits me like Tourette's. The lines are lining up like the Rockettes, all kicking their opinionated legs and doing a soft shoe in my head. It begs a question, who is in control, the language or me? It takes up so much time. I languish in a state of very little income as an ink-stained wretch. You become a stranger to your family and your friends, and though you're acting normal, it depends on what you're writing. When you're so distracted in a culture with no second act, or is it writing? As you recollect phenomena at some remove, connecting to the universal with the neurons in the brain. Who wants to be a moron in America? You can't believe the pressure building up, and to relieve it there are open mics. I go to brainwash and release the words and make a brain wish for a better line, a glass of wine. There's a woman going on about her gynecologist. Another woman cut herself and wrote a poem, a rebuttal to the suicidal. Men confess to having killed their fathers. There's a messy free association like a frantic dislocation. It is schizophrenic when you live among the physical and think a lot. You need a motorcycle to fit in. If you're mechanical, it means that you belong. No need to panic. When you think a lot, it makes you skeptical. The language has an epileptic fit, a spasm running through the brain. Along with love, it's all my words in vain. A knee-jerk poet or a contemplating head case. And you leave a woman waiting while you figure out the universe or reinvent a human in blank verse. I'm polarized. I'm pulling in the lightning bolts of language. You can be enlightened by a jagged sentence or reduced to ashes. What a shame. When you're seduced by echoes in a skull that you inherited, ideas get into your hair and jump around. They're looking for a dimension, but it seems to leave you with attention deficit disorder. There are writers who will hold on to their cigarette lighters and a drink because it gives them continuity. Although there is community for that, a loose end and a live wire with the fragmentation starting fires in your head and your imagination adding fuel. I feel a gravitation to the land of transcendental meaning, wounded by the circumstantial, leaning on the universal. and you stare for hours while your life is up in the air. Eventually you slip into a trance. It isn't practical. You take your chances with the voices, the adrenaline of thought. It plays you like a violin. And so you don't have time to work for a living. But existence can be unforgiving. So you're compromising with a part-time job, indulging in an idle thought crime on your time off. And the FBI is clueless. Maybe you're on SDI. It stands for Sudden Demented Intuition. They would put you in an institution, but there isn't room and you're not hurting anyone except for a covert misanthropy. You try to get along, but some are lost. Their lives are going wrong. You're picking up a lunatic osmosis on the street, a bona fide psychosis, and it soaks into your broken prose, becoming more like poems, I suppose. There are delusions of grandeur in the word. It's all we have to go on. An absurd dimension loaded with hallucinating dictionaries and a fascinating nervous breakdown, with the poets throwing words around a room, and it is showing everybody how our brains are wired differently. And maybe you are tired after listening for many years to spoken word dementia, shifting gears from one erratic speaker to the next. And maybe it's all quiet in the text, but you're addicted, having gone to the well a few too many times, and time will tell if you have tapped into an endless stream of consciousness. Forever is a dream, and even when I'm dying, I'll be rhyming, although death is throwing off my timing.
Get it.
Yeah, buddy.